Sanjana, welcome back on Bollywood Hungama and congratulations.
Thank you, Faridoon sir. Thank you.
Uh, what was the first feeling when you just came to know about the tremendous response that the first day of Dil Bechara, first screening of Dil Bechara received?
The thing is that I watched the film at 7:30 with the rest of the, I think, 95 million people I hear who watched it. And
Right.
it was also the first time I was seeing the film. So मैं, I just got very overwhelmed, to be honest. And I needed to take, I was watching it with my whole family, but I couldn't even watch it with them. I had to leave the room and sort of just watch it on my own. And then I shut my phone off for the whole day after because I don't know, it just took me into another place altogether. I think all of the resilience and all the strength that I was trying to keep to bring this film to the people in those 10 days, it all just, I think I had that, it overwhelmed me completely. I got to know about the response and stuff about on Monday because that Saturday, Sunday, I just had to be selfish and take it to just feel whatever I was feeling.
Did you cry while watching it?
I cried. I don't even know if that's crying or whimpering or what it was. It was just one of the most intense, like 1 hour 40 minutes of my life. Also because it for me, like for when the audience sees it, but when I see it, I go back to moments and memories and what happened on that day. What did we eat for lunch that day? How was my mood? How was Sushant's mood? It just goes, so as an actor, anyway, you have to, I think, watch the film twice or thrice to start seeing it as a film, because the first 2, 3 times, it's just you're thinking about so many things and feeling so many things. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Okay,
Yeah.
and so what were you feeling on the day when the church sequence where you guys are just coming up with a speech, you and Sai had come up with a speech for Sushant, that is towards the end of the film. What was that day like?
What was that day on shoot like?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that day was about 35, 40 days into filming. So the one thing was that we were very comfortable in our characters by that point. पहले एक हफ्ते में थोड़ा time लगता है. कभी-कभी you feel कि did I just slip out of the zone? But उस time तक I was well into Kizzy and Sushant was into Manny. But I was also, both of us actually were at a point where we were quite emotionally drained by that point because Charlie's din of this kind of film, now we've all seen the film, बहुत emotional expenditure हो जाता है. So oddly enough, that day was one day, it was a night shoot and it was raining and I got a full emotional block that day, fully, because we finished Sushant's axis, I remember. I gave him cues and I gave those in the right zone, but by the time we moved to my axis, I just got blocked. And he had to, he used to always be able to recognize ke, am I stressed, am I nervous, am I easy? So accordingly, he would let me be or try to help me. So I think he figured out that I was very nervous because it was a 4-page monologue on script. So when as an actor, when you know that there's this huge monologue, from the prep time only the build up becomes a lot कि ये बहुत critical scene है. तो उस stress में आपका वो हो जाता है. So he had to take me out for a walk and we had to listen to a few songs and he had to explain some things to me for me able to do it the way I think it's finally come out. So it was a very tough
No,
day.
I'm sure no one would have fathomed ever that even the subject of the film will be so close to reality in a way that someone is going away and someone is no more. So that I think added to the entire experience for people, and I think everyone cried. Everyone must have cried and felt very, very deeply emotional, especially in that particular sequence. Of course, the
Yeah,
final when he's
I think for the first, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but most of, I'm getting a sense that it's not a film that people have just watched once. I'm getting the sense that everybody who's watched it has gone and given it at least a second watch. and some scenes a third watch even. And because I feel that in the first watch for all of us to be able to see it as a scene is impossible right now. I couldn't. I'm an actor. I'm in that film. I couldn't do it, so I can't imagine the audience being able to do it.
The entire world, I think, must have watched. There's so many people who are messaging that we are not able to see it in
Yeah.
our country, like Australia, for example, and a few other countries as well. And I hope that the film reaches out. Uh, how has the life changed for you post the release of Dil Bechara? How has it changed?
So I think because of the pandemic, it's not changed in a, like, you know that it's changed. Nothing was the same after 24 July. But at the same time, my physical surroundings are the same. So utna abhi tak महसूस नहीं हुआ hai. But it's weird, Faridoon bhai, like, as actors, we knew that we had done something special 2 years ago. And then it takes time. I'm learning that it takes time for people to see that. So I had carried this experience with me now for these 2 years, but now finally people see Kizzy in me, and I'm getting to relive her finally, which gives me a lot of happiness because she's just my favorite person in the world. And I'm more than happy that people want to call me Kizzy and not Sanjana. To be getting fan mails in thousands from young teenagers in small towns in remote parts of India, saying that you wrote to Abhimanyu Veer and that's why we are writing to you, because you've given us strength. And I think the love of the people is something that either you get it or you don't. And when you get it, it's just the most special thing. So that love, I'm going to be very, I know, possessive about, because it means a lot to me. So I'm feeling feeling like finally maybe a little bit of it is worth it.
There must be an ambition when it comes to acting, and we've already done quite a few ads. But the level of stress which has been around you the last 1.5 months, especially, and the fact that the film kept on getting delayed. So, were there moments when you felt that maybe this is not something that you really want to do?
No, because the doing, which is the being an artist, acting, making a film, um, that's still as magical and it's still as special as the reason why I want to do it. But I wouldn't ever wish upon these circumstances upon anybody, what we've had to go through in the last month and a half. I pray that I never have to go through them again. And I also pray that nobody has to, because yeah, it's too overwhelming. It's too tragic. And, so I just would consider they're separate things. They don't encourage you, most definitely. I don't think it's encouraging, but it's encouraged me to separate the two and ask myself, why? Why do you do this? Why do you want to do this? Were you born to do this? And when those answers are yes, then you just hope that the rest of it sort of gets better with time, and also I look at it as a culture. I look at it as all of us who are the young generation, whether it's me or Sarah or Janvi or any of us, because we're ushering in and getting in a new time. I think we should look at it in a new way and a different way. And I feel like I want to take ownership for the culture that we create now between our audiences and their actors. So yeah, I'm trying to be not get bogged down by it to that degree.
Right. Okay, so I'll just rewind back to the TED talk that we discussed in last time around, and you mentioned about the fact that post your 12th, I believe. So your parents, you were quite keen to go abroad for studies, but the way the circumstances in the family were, uh, you could not. But you got through into one of the premier colleges in Delhi, and during the college, you were involved in a lot of activities. You're also involved with the society that help the students get their jobs, and you helped quite a few students in getting the premier jobs
Placement.
as well,
Yeah.
and placements as well, and even apart from that. So you always maybe try to take up challenges in the right stride. You like taking challenges. And do you feel that that attitude of yours has helped you just sail through this very difficult period in your life?
I think most definitely, because I do get scared that if I hadn't gone through any of this and been built in this way, then I think that it could have been really, really bad, because I'm not incredibly proud of how I've been dealing with it, because it it's very emotionally difficult. Just this, one is that from a public facing sphere, it's difficult, but also just what I'm going through inside is difficult. But always, as if, if it was simple, if dad tells you that we don't have the money, so you cannot go abroad, so it's like, okay, that's fine. How can I make the most of university still? Which is what we all did, even when we got to know that Dil Bechara was going on OTT, for example. Pandemic has happened. Nobody can do anything about it. How can we still make the film as special as possible? And when we got to know this way back, right, in April. So Sushant knew, I
Yeah.
knew, and it was all about how can we promote it now? How can we bring it to the people? So I think there's no choice but to be like this, because if we're not like this, we'll just always feel stuck, and that's no way to live. So
One of the dialogues that I noticed, and it is something that is there in the film as well, original film, and that was that before coming to Paris, I got a PET scan done, and it lit like a Christmas tree. So that dialogue was there in
yeah,
the film as well. Since I believe you've loved the novel, you've been I think binge watcher of the film as well. Do you feel proud of the fact that you guys have been able to remake a film that has maybe got a bigger audience now than the original in a way?
incredibly proud. It makes me so it makes me so happy, because
Mm.
I think I was the only one on the team who was very scared about this,
Mm.
because I felt the pressure, because I was that teenager who was obsessed with the Fortuna stars. So for me, I was always jittery in readings that are we doing this right? Are we doing this right? And Shashank, Khaitan, Sushant, everybody, they were much more confident than I was, for sure.
Mm.
I remember my fears went away for the first time when I read our final draft of the script, when Mukesh gave it to me. When I read that, all the pressure was gone, because that piece of, writing, you just know. I now understand why we say this about the written word, because Kizzy and Manny they had the essence, but they had a different world around them, and I think that balance was just so beautiful. And we always knew that there would be comparisons also, because it's inevitable. But I think we've truly made an Indian adaptation. It's based in Jamshedpur. He's Tamil, I'm Bengali. It's uniquely Indian.
Mm. Right. And what do you have to say about Swastika, Sashwat Chatterjee and Swastika Mukherjee? Uh, they play your parents.
Yeah, they are. What do I even say? That's the thing. They play my parents, and for the every single day on that shoot, whether it was prep, they were like my parents, because um I met Swastika while she was auditioning to become Mrs. Basu, because I was already in prep and she would come to the studio. Mukesh would do a couple of tests with her, and I was learning Bengali at that time. So I used to, for 8 hours with my diction coach, we just used to be internalizing the language. And things like that. Swastika would come and be like, Mukesh, good you took a Bengali girl, huh? So like, and then Mukesh and I looked at each other and we were like, yes, because that was our goal, that Shashwata and Swastika should just be convinced that I speak Bengali, and they don't need to know whether I'm Punjabi or Gujarati or what. So with them, I used to chat in Bangla, and then we used to also, their experience, the amount of work they've done, and my lack of experience, they used to see this child expelling so much energy, giving it her all in every shot. And I remember all of them used to be like, har shot mein nahi dena hota hai itna. So they were like a fully protective pillars of support. Very candidly would tell me when I've not done a scene well. Like Shashwat, I would just be like, maza nahi aaya. And then I would just be like, what do you mean maza nahi aaya? So he was like, nahi, you can do better. And then I would get encouraged to do better. And I would also keep asking him, sir, did you think that was fine? Did you think that was fine? So very,
And
very
you
special.
have some very crucial scenes with Shashwat Acharya.
Yeah, yes.
They're,
And that's what
they're
I
really
love
crucial.
about Kizzy and Baba's relationship. It's such a uniquely real father-daughter relationship. When my father saw it, he was constantly giving me jealous glances because he was like, Baba is as close to Kizzy as I am to you. He was like, I thought we are the only father and daughter in the world who are like this. Because if Kizzy is going for prom, she asks Baba to teach her how to dance. There's no hiding that I'm going for prom with my boyfriend. There's no, it's, and he's happy that she's going. So I just find that so special. एंड पेरिस जाना है तो माँ को पीछे छोड़ के बाबा के पास जाके बैठना और बोलना बाबा यू हैव टू सेंड मी सो इट्स जस्ट अ beautiful father daughter relationship.
You also mentioned that Imtiaz Ali told you that um, the moment I think the promo started and he could not feel that you're actually having that pipe around your nose because the actor in you took over. And someone who's such, I think, keen observer and a very fine director and writer himself, I'm sure that must have been a huge compliment.
Yeah, for me it's special because coming from him, of course, it's special. Again, he's one of those people with me where it's very say it as it is. If he doesn't like a part of the performance very vehemently, he'll say that, and what he likes, he'll point out. So there's no feeling bad about that. And also because that was so important for me in prep, we never wanted cancer to be a defining factor for Kizzy or Manny. We wanted our audiences to first see really, really lively and beautiful young people in love, two star-crossed lovers. And yes, they have an illness that is debilitating. So make the tube invisible was a slogan in my room for months because that line was just one line, but it meant a lot of things. It meant that Pushpinder needs to be just an extension of my limb, because otherwise for a actor to have a permanent prop, what we call in theater, where there is a prop with you at all times, can get very challenging because you can start looking awkward with it. Because anything that Kizzy does, Pushpinder does with her. So if Sushant and I are dancing, he has to pick it up and put it on his shoulder. So there was a lot of actual prep work also that goes into it. So when it gets recognized, it's really special.
All right. So you've mentioned in one of the interviews that the sort of reading habits that you guys shared, both you and Sushant, were really amazing. And you just had to mention the name of a book, and he would know the author, and he just has to mention the name of the author, and you would know the books of that author. And I think you also mentioned that it will be very difficult to find that sort of similar sort of taste in any other actor whatsoever. Tell us something about the reading habits that you guys share.
It's usually what happens, I've realized, is that so when I meet someone or even if I'm working with them, it's not like I talk about the books that I read or what my interests in terms of what are the things I like knowing about or studying about. But I realize that I've not done that thus far because I've never met someone like him where there is a passion and interest to that degree. So it wasn't that we ever sat down and were like, oh, there's this author called Yuval Noah Harari and he's so interesting. It actually used to be, it always started from our story and from Kizzy and Manny. And when we were discussing the script and, talking in the workshops with Mukesh as well. And then if I would say that, oh, I think we should do this scene this way, and he would ask why, and I would say an answer and he would be like, John Berger spoke about something like this in Ways of Seeing. And that's when I realized that it's my education that's allowing me to be capable in these rooms. because I never used to know that I say certain things or give certain inputs because of my influences of theater or political literature, or you have it, whatever it is. But it's in these interactions that you start becoming conscious of these things, because otherwise you don't really understand. So that's how it used to happen. So then I would be like, oh man, I read John Berger in second year in film studies, and do you know about the Rashomon effect? And then we would discuss that. So that's how it happened, and it was all centered around Dil Bechara, centered around discovering Kizzy and Manny from different perspectives, which is why it was also so much more special for us.
Right. And what about Seri? What are the sort of responses that we got for Seri?
It's, what do I even say? Seri has become a emotion. It's not. It's. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe that it's become a courage word. It's become like nothing else needs to be said. Just Seri needs to be said. And when I got millions of people writing Seri Kizzy Basu to me after 24th July, and it's just magical.
And have you interacted? Have you read the messages from his fans who are relentless in expressing themselves?
Absolutely. And I've said it from, before the film released, when I remember there was a time when, of course, they wanted Dil Bechara to be on big screens as well. And because I felt, firstly, we made a film for the theaters. So, of course, it's an emotion that I carried with me too. It was a lot for me to come to terms with. And when I saw them demanding that, I remember reaching out to all of them and trying to just give them another perspective on how any screen is enough if your heart is large enough, if you can fill it with love and celebrate him regardless. And I remember millions of them feeling that that's totally right, and that's, we can do that, and they've done it. They need to give themselves a pat on the back, because they've shown the power of their numbers, of them coming together, and what we can do when we choose to celebrate something. And then it's just a cherry on the top that on a merit level they've loved the film so much. Because I think after a point it becomes that you truly connect with this character, with all the people telling this story, because otherwise it doesn't become this special. So I want to
Absolutely.
let them know that their days of arduous yearning, hopefully they feel that it's come to fruition, on 24th July, and now henceforth.
Okay, and it is being said that the first screening that took place, a number of people watched it all across the world. If you just convert it into simple maths, it was something like 2,000 crore first
Yeah, I've been
first screening,
hearing this. Yes.
so
Uh,
which is unprecedented. Which is
which is, it's unprecedented. And I told the team as well, I was like, even if it's 1/100th of this, even that's unprecedented. I mean, this number of 2,000 crores is just mind boggling, but I just, that's what, it's not a film, it's not just, it's a movement. And it's, I think it's one of those that's just going to stay. The Dil Bechara fever is not one that's just going to come and go. So,
okay. And would you want this movie to come in theaters as and when the theaters open? Because it is expected that maybe in September it may open. So I'll give you an example. When Maine Pyar Kiya released,
mhm,
Salman Khan's first film, so it came on a very different sort of technology, stereophonic technology, and
mhm,
so a lot of the theaters in India, they were not equipped to screen it.
correct.
So it was so I watched it on a VHS player
Right.
first. And
Okay.
then
Okay.
it released in theaters later, and then we went to theaters, and of course, and it did very well when it released in theaters. So I'm from this town called Aligarh. So
Right.
I feel that as and when the theaters open up, and if this film comes up in theaters, it'll still be watched.
Of course. I I keep getting dreams of a theatrical rerun, is the honest truth. Uh I would be the happiest person in the world if that were to happen. I'll go with the millions that will go, because I know they will. There is no doubt.
Absolutely.
And that'll be beautiful, I think.
Especially, I think
I'm
the
putting it out in
songs
the
and
universe.
the climax, the
I'm putting it
climax,
out in
and
the universe.
no, I hope that happens. And I believe your birthday is coming up. It's in September.
It is,
Is it?
yes,
Right.
yes. It's just some
Okay.
26 days away.
26
I've
days
not
away.
celebrated this film, Faridoon bhai, with anybody. I've not for a
Mm,
moment celebrated
mm,
anything about this. Just haven't been in the space to. Um, so I've been getting reprimanded from friends and family alike that please take some time to just give yourselves, all of you, the whole team, a pat on the back and celebrate this. The entire country is, and you must too.
mm.
But I think I will when it comes from inside. So maybe the birthday gives me that, that strength to do that.
No, no, I hope that happens. So happy
I'm
birthday to you
turning
in
a year
advance.
older. Thank you. Hopefully a year wiser. I don't know. That time will tell. But
No, I must say that you've handled yourself, I think, admirably well. I was personally very worried. For like say one and a
thank
half
you,
months.
sir.
Even I think on May 8th when you posted that video, and I still remember I posted on Instagram that the movie is releasing on OTT platform, and you sent me a message that, sir, it's releasing in theaters. I could understand that you're so passionate that you wanted it to come out in theater, and you're passionate about the film, which is understandable. But I think you've handled yourself admirably well, and
Thank you.
you deserve to give a pat to yourself on the back for that. And I hope that the future is bright, and you'll get many more films and do very well. So
Thank
all the
you.
best wishes, and
Thank
thank
you.
you for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Faridoon, sir. Take care. Talk to you soon.